Episode of America in Black and White. Today, we will have Dr. Richard A. Cross, a longtime professor and entrepreneur that's a mentor for a lot of young men in his communities, and he's building on a program that I think most of you would definitely want to hear about, and so you can learn also not only what he's doing, but how he's going to be able to do some things to build young black men in several communities. Ladies and gentlemen, I now introduce you to the show, Dr. Richard A. Cross. Hello, Dr. Cross.
Hello, Mr. King. Thanks for having me on your show. It's a pleasure being here, man, to share with you and with your audience. So it's a pleasure to be here on America in Black and White.
So, Dr. Cross, can you tell some of our people, our audience, about who you are and the things you've got going on before we get going into the show?
Well, that's fine. So, as you have heard, my name is Richard A. Cross. Originally, I'm from Jamaica. I came to the United States on a track and field scholarship. So I was an athlete. Well, when you're an athlete, you're always an athlete. So for me, coming here to the States gave me an opportunity not only to pursue an education, but to help tap into my own potential. Because prior to coming here, I had placed a lot of limitations on myself. And let me back up a little bit just to give you some perspective. Growing up in Jamaica, for me, grew up in poverty. And, I didn't do so well in high school and primary school. So a lot of people didn't really see me as someone who would become anything worthwhile in life based on my performance. But a lot of times what we do, we base what's possible based on our environment. So we limit ourselves because we see a lot of limitations around us. So that was my perspective for the earlier part of my, childhood, my teenage years, growing up in Jamaica. So I limit myself because of my environment, but track and field was the good thing for me. So I end up in college in Jamaica, and I like to tell people that I went to college in Jamaica on grace because I didn't have the qualification to go to college. I went to college because I had the track and field ability. And with that mindset, it still affected me in, whilst in college, that I still had limitations. I put limits on myself. So I went to college to literally see my way through. So that was my grade throughout college in Jamaica. Then I became a police officer. And from there, I, continued doing track and was in the United States representing the police force. And then I met the coach of Lincoln University, Victor Thomas, and he gave me an opportunity, and he almost didn't give that opportunity to me. And I'm saying all this, to give you all some perspective. He gave the opportunity to me, but he was walking away, because he was saying, man, you're too old for the scholarship. And I said, sir, if you want to know what someone does with an opportunity, give it to me. And I took that opportunity, and everything changed. My first year in college, my academic performance was totally different from I was in Jamaica. So I was on the dean's list, start doing well. And then I realized I wasn't limited. I have potential to do great. I just needed the environment, and I needed to be in a space where I could explore, where I could believe in myself. And that's what happened. And I haven't turned back. I graduated at the top of my class. I was a student with the highest GPA for my time in undergrad. And I went on to do my master's degree. And then I went on to do my doctorate degree, just to give some perspective, of who I am. And I've written several books, many books. And I have done that because I want other people to know, despite where you start your journey, you have the potential in you to do great things. We just have to realize that it doesn't matter where we start. It doesn't matter what people have said to you. The potential is there within, regardless of the opinions of people or your environment. Sometimes we get caught up in our environments where we limit ourselves because of it. But that doesn't mean we don't have potential. We just need to realize that the potential is there and we can tap into it at any time we want to. We just have to have that desire and willingness to nurture the gift we have within ourselves.
So, Dr. Cross, with that perspective and all those wonderful things, and how you actually brought your life from what you consider to be impoverished up to now, what was your thing that made you decide that you would become a professor, and you would go on to teach younger students?
Well, to be honest with you, if I should be honest, I didn't have the desire to be a professor. And it's not that I didn't like to empower. I always like to encourage people. But I wanted to be an entrepreneur, to be honest with you. And then I moved to Atlanta and I was volunteering at the court. And, I was telling this person that I met there that I would love to empower students, and share my journey. And they said, man, you know what? We need someone like you on our campus. And I filled out the application and I went on campus and I fell in love with the classroom. I realized that I had an impact on the students. And I said, this is an environment that I can be in to empower those students who may be coming from a similar environment as myself. So that's how it started, with the desire, by getting the opportunity. And then, I start nurturing it. But what make it worthwhile for me when I was in the classroom teaching those students, is when they start telling me how much, I make them develop the desire to learn or want to be there. And students who tell me that, sir, I didn't know this was possible, or I could do this. And one student came to me once and said, sir, based on what you said to me, I almost quit. And the reason why the student came to me, he didn't show up for school for 2 weeks. And I called him and he didn't respond. He didn't answer the phone. So he came back the 3rd week and said, sir, this is the first time in my life I realized somebody cared about me. And I say, you know what? This is somewhere I need to be. And this person was older than me. But I realized that, there are students out there that haven't met or deal with people that see in them what they may not see in themselves. And that's what I bring to the classroom. It's not that I'm the smartest, it's not that I'm the most knowledgeable person, but I bring to the classroom care, and that I can see in those students what they may not see in themselves.
Wow. So it's the personable approach that you bring, along with the knowledge and the lifelong lessons that you have, have made an impact. But it seems like it's not just the younger kids, but there are older people as well that are getting this inspiration. So when you're able to just reach out and knowing that you're touching and you're impacting so many lives, what does that do for you personally and the goals that you set?
Well, I always feel as if that the best thing we can do is to serve others. Although for me, at first, I didn't know that was possible, or I would be in this position that I'm in today. But I always know that helping others is the best way to live. So being in the position to help other people, being that someone helped me to get out of my situation, that's the best thing I can do with my life. And that is to help other people to realize that despite where you are, or despite the opinions people have of you, anything is possible. You don't have to try and do what other people are doing. You need to find the thing that you are passionate about and give yourself to it. And if I can get someone to believe that they have more in them, my time with that person is worthwhile. So that's it for me. I like to see other people, realize their potential.
So now that as of being a professor, and we know how you have started to make that impact. What are the projects, programs, or things that you have started that's going to make it even more of an impact in communities and in lives?
Well, thanks for that question. That's a great question. Currently, I'm doing the Black Male Impact, where I'm interviewing Black men across the country and outside of the country as well, because I've interviewed Black men from England, I've interviewed Black men from Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean, and also in Africa. The reason why I started the Black Male Impact is because of the stigmas and the labels that have been placed on us as Black men. But for me, to be honest with you, when I started my doctoral degree and I started doing the research, I didn't realize there were so many Black men with PhDs. That there were, so being that there are so many Black men out there who are qualified and doing the work, and we are not aware that they're there. So that was also a part of the purpose of the Black Male Impact, to bring those Black men that are somewhat in the background to the foreground.
Oh.
So the younger generation can see that Black men are out here doing great work, and that they don't have to limit themselves to what society may have painted. So that was one of the reasons for the Black Male Impact, to bring the Black men who are doing great work and making an impact from the background to the foreground. So the world can see what they're doing and hear their stories, what they have overcome to achieve the success that they have achieved.
Well, I definitely appreciate you talking about this program, because it's something that that's really of importance, but it basically touches on what the show itself is about. And that is not only giving voice to those that don't have a voice, but shining the light on those that are doing great things in the communities and are building people, because it's definitely necessary. But
Correct.
as I think, as you mentioned, the Black Male Impact, it just kind of like, well, not kind of like, but it just had me thinking, because if you notice how the how data and things that are being reported, it's basically like Black men are just non-existent. And so in that situation, to where they're still trying to, according to the American statistics, the U.S. statistics, the world statistics, they're still Black men are still at the bottom. So what is it that Black Male Impact is going to do that's going to change that?
Well, as I mentioned before, all right, being that, from a statistical standpoint, right, they may say we're not doing well. And yes, we may not be graduating as high as other students or other ethnic groups, right? But I strongly believe, as research have said it, what you see, you're more likely to become. So with the Black Male Impact highlighting Black men who are PhD graduates, who are in position of leadership, who are doing well, who have gone through the education system, because I strongly believe that education is one of the most valuable assets we can have. It doesn't mean you have to become a teacher, but I still believe that education is so valuable, and we have to channel our young people to see the value in it. So with the Black Male Impact is to bring the Black men to the forefront who are doing great work, so the young people, the next generation, can see that there are Black men out here who have gone through the educational system, because again, I believe strongly in education. So once they can see other Black men in different positions or different roles, it makes it easier for them to believe, because whatever you see, that's what you're going to believe. So we have an obligation to bring Black men to the forefront, so the next generation can see who they can become. As I said to you earlier, when I started my doctoral journey, I didn't know there were so many Black males out there with doctoral degrees until I start doing the research. So if you're not doing the research, you're not going to know. And when I've done self-identity presentations to Black male students, I bring to them Black men out here who are doing great that they should know, who are really successful, Black males who are billionaires, who have gone through the systems, who are entrepreneurs, who are not athletes. But I bring them in, when I'm doing the presentation, and most of these young kids don't know who they are. But if you ask them about a artist, a rapper, they may know, but yet they may not know who the billionaire is and what he's doing as, a Black man here in America.
Ooh. So can you give us a breakdown as to what Black Impact does from, let's say, from if it's in tiers, from start to beginning, start to end? What is it that you're doing with this program, and how is it supposed to start to get to a finishing point?
Well, I wouldn't say a finishing point, but it's ongoing. So, and I would just share with you, the Black Male Impact Project aims to help change the narrative through positive and insightful conversations with Black men who value education, self-respect, entrepreneur, and are service-oriented. So the goal is to provide a positive perspective to the next generation, especially for our young Black males. So that's the premise of the Black Male Impact. Having conversations with Black men who are doing the work and to help to change the narrative and the perspective of others. And when it comes to changing the perspective and the misconceptions, is not just to Black youth, it also to other ethnic groups, because other ethnic groups view us in the light that we have been painted. So we have to provide a narrative to help them to change their perspective of who we are.
Okay. And so you said there is no end point. So let's say when do you find your candidates, or how do you get the candidates that you work with Black Male Impact?
Well, I look to see the Black males who are actually out there in their communities doing the work and making the impact. I focus a lot on Black males who are in the education system, but I've talked to Black men in the financial services department, in the law enforcement, and doctors as well. But I heavily focus on Black males who are in education, again, because my focus is on education, and I believe education is the key to get us out of whatever situations that we're in. We can change our whole trajectory from getting education.
Okay, and that's really that in itself is impact. I'm just just trying to see exactly for those potential clients that may do well in with the impact program, like are there like things other than, like, let's just say, I know how you say you've went into the communities and you find people that are working in communities. So like, or has there ever been a time that somebody that's doing really good work that they've been referred to you, or is that one of the things that happens to be a part of the program?
Well, a great question. I have got several people who have been referred to me, based on what I'm doing and based on the impact other people have seen that I'm doing or what my focus is. So I've a lot of I'm not going to say, maybe about 20% of all the Black males I've interviewed already have been recommended to me. And they're not only being recommended to me by other Black men, Black women, and even one white male said, man, I know this guy. He's at my school. I believe you need to interview him. He's doing very well with the students. So, but I do get most of my recommendations from other Black males, but also, females have recommended Black males to be a part of, so they can share what they're doing to make an impact. And, so we all can, gain insight and perspective on what we can do to continue to change the narrative.
So can you tell me, what are the goals? What are some of the things that you plan on just expanding out when it comes to the program? Are there any goals? What are the things about the program that's got to be impactful?
Well, a part of the Black Male Impact, the goal right now is to reach into different states and cities to talk about what Black men in the states are doing. However, the overarching goal with the Black Male Impact is to empower 1 million Black male students. So through these conversations, we will reach Black male students. So it's ongoing in regards to the goals and objectives, but the focus that the Black Male Impact is really about is the positive perspective for the next generation. A really heavy focus on the theme of empowerment, breaking limitations, and also intellectual prowess and excellence. We have to highlight the intellectual prowess and excellence amongst Black men if we're going to change the narrative. The world needs to know. Well, let me say this. The world knows, but we need to make it, something that is there in your face every day.
Right.
The world know that we are great, but sometimes we don't know that we are great. So the more we are there in the face, on the forefront, the more it becomes the norm when it comes to our intellectual prowess and excellence.
Wow. So is there do you start this from young kids from elementary school? Do you start middle school, high school, or how does that go? Is there an age range from beginning to what's the oldest?
For the Black male, the 1 million Black male empowerment, basically start from middle school. However, I've had teachers, reach out to me and see if I do elementary. I'm not really the best with the smaller kids are in the classroom setting. However, I think it's easier to mold the minds of the middle school students. They will understand what I'm trying to do mostly, although there are other ways to reach the much younger kids, but my focus is mostly from middle school with a heavy focus on high school, and also college as well, but high school is where most of the focus will be, with some middle school and college for the Black males.
Okay, so with this, and let's just say you started with high school, as one of the age ranges or that you work with. When it comes to the community itself, I mean, do you teach them also things about how to go into the community and build the community, or are they doing already community service and it's something that's just actionable that you just love that really helps what they need to do to impact that community?
Well, I always tell the students that they are the most valuable asset to their environment. So it's either, they're going to, go through the process, get their education, and give back in their community. But whilst they're going through the process, they can be a part of organizations that they like or want to learn from. So they can be in those different organizations that's available to them. Because I always tell them sometimes to meet the right people, because you have to teach young people now the importance of relationship, the importance of having mentors, the importance of giving back. So whilst they're there, meeting these people that are in their community, because they never know where the opportunity is going to come from, or who is going to present them with the opportunity, or who they can learn from. So, let the students know for what first that they are valuable to their community despite their age. And they have to see the value in themselves. So, they can, be the best they can be.
So is this all going to be like from a face-to-face thing, and maybe from an initial aspect, and then grow into maybe like is something like a program that you may be able to have to teach like schools and schools of young black men?
Yes, great question. Um, it will be in the community, of course, but we're doing some virtual, depending on where these students are. So the mentorship to some of these students will be virtual. But the goal is to partner with different organizations, different schools to come in and teach them. One of the things that I do focus on is self-image. I realize that we have to help our students, our young black males, to change how they see themselves. And once they can change that self-image, anything else is possible. Because if they see themselves as someone who can become successful, then their behavior will change. And once their behavior change, their actions towards what they're doing to help them will change. And once their actions change, everything else change.
Okay. So I understand that you're also about to have your first annual symposium. Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
Well, and thank you. The Black Male Impact Symposium will be focusing on empowering at least 100 Black male students. So we're going to have speakers, and we're going to have it open to older Black men as well, not just the students. But one of the things that we're going to focus on for the students is, again, self-image, a transformation. So our goal is to provide 100 students with suits. So we're going to have the students come to the symposium, and we're going to have them have a transformation session where we're going to have the students, come as they are, and then we're going to have them, leave for a while, go and change, and then we're going to let them see themselves, in their suits, and just to have them, have a different perspective on who they are, and also let the community see the young men in a different light.
Oh, well, that's something that's excellent as well. And I tell you, we'd like to help with that, because if you need us to do anything to help in your promotions and so forth, we're definitely willing and able and ready to do that, because I think the impact, that this will make, not just only on communities, but with black men in general, is going to be a large thing, because, I myself definitely love to see the good change, and it's the good change that makes a difference, especially for the future of the culture itself. And so I know that is broad, but just definitely, if there's something that we could do here, just let me know, because I would definitely love to help you out with that.
Most definitely, I will. Keep you posted as we, start the promotion, which will be soon.
Okay. And so tell me, like with your former school, your school was a HBCU, right?
Correct.
So with that school, how many of your former students, have been of assistance to you with the work that you're doing?
How many of the students? Not necessarily a lot, because when I really started to focus a lot on the Black male impact, I have stepped away from the school for a while. So now, being that my focus is on empowering Black males across the country, alongside Black male students, I think one of the things I realized that I had to make a transition. I have to step out of my own environment to reach a greater audience. So where I'm not so limited with what I can do and where I can go. And I wanted that because, there are places that I know I will have to go and meet people. And sometimes, you have to take those chances so you can reach more people. So for me, the students there didn't really participate. However, whilst I was there, we have meetings every week, and we have at least 20 students that turn up to those meetings. So it was kind of the similar thing that I'm doing, where I get Black male students, to talk about different aspects of their life while we're talking about education and how to be successful as a student. But as far as them participating in the Black Male Impact, no.
So, how is the impact of your program? How is it working over in Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean?
Well, great question. For Jamaica, I do mentor students there, and I have many schools have reached out to me. So I'm just getting ready now to start doing more conversations there with the schools and having conversations with Black men, because that's one thing that we need to address in Jamaica. In regards to helping our young men to see beyond their situation, and that they don't have to succumb to violence. They have the potential within. We just have to help them to find it and nurture it. So that's one of the things that I've been talking to other Black men, especially those school system, to help their young men there to realize that they don't have to succumb to, the violence that they may be exposed to.
Oh wow! Well, that too in itself sounds like another good thing that that this program is doing. Are there any other projects that you're working on?
Not really. Well, I didn't mention, which I think I did to some extent, with the Black male statewide panel discussion. So
Mhm.
that's one of the next thing that I'm really focusing on right now, to have the conversation offline in the communities with other Black men who are doing the work or who want to see changes within their communities. So because sometimes we have to go in the community to talk to
Mhm.
others and to get their perspective, because being that we are here and we are looking through our own lens, our own eyes, what we see may not be all that is happening. So getting the perspective from other people within the community will give us more perspective on what we can do to help make a difference.
Oh wow! Now that in itself, that right there, I think is going to be make major impact. But can you tell me when it comes to the people that you're looking for, would it kind of like be the same as to looking for the candidates that you use for the Black Male Impact, or how are you going to find these different community leaders that you want to have this panel discussion with?
Well, again, I just reach out to Black men that I see doing the work,
Mhm.
and they always respond favorably, because they do know the need. They realize that we have to step up and do something to create a different narrative. We have to take control of our story, and to take control of our story is to be at the forefront doing the work that we are passionate about. And everyone is not passionate about the same thing. It's just to come together. And one of the things that when it comes to the Black Male Impact, is the collaboration, because they tend to say, as Black men, we don't work together well. So, and I've been getting good feedback from Black men. So that's one of the greatest accomplishments so far, is the collaboration with Black men across the country that want to see change within their communities.
Oh wow. And so it's amazing when you say that, because um I think that, because that was like a lead in for my next question, which you pretty much kind of answered. But I want to know, what is your opinion as to how do you think people view us as Black men not having the ability to work together, and have bad communication?
Well, you see, from my perspective, we have been conditioned to have distrust amongst each other.
Mhm.
And if we're going to change the perspective, first, we have to learn to start trusting each other.
Mhm.
We may not come across people that, uh, that we can trust, but if we don't allow ourselves to trust each other, we're going to still continue with this distrust amongst each other. And for us to really progress, for us to really change the narrative, for us to really achieve great success and a collective from a collective standpoint, we have to learn to trust each other. And if we don't trust each other, how do we expect other people to trust us? We have to start demonstrating that amongst ourselves. And through collaboration and through working together, we can build those trusts. And once we build those trusts, whatever we want to achieve become much easier. So we have to develop the trust amongst each other. The world said we don't, but that's what the world says. What do we say? And now we need to start saying something different, and that is to trust each other. And so we can work actively to change the perception and misconception that have been created about us.
So, from a historical perspective, when this has been tried before in the past, and like you yourself, just like myself and other people and organizations are trying to do the same thing. From a historical perspective, what could be done different now than what was not done in the past?
What could be done differently now that wasn't done in the past? All
Yes.
right. In the past, and I'm just going to go back to in the time of, say Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, we had two strong individuals, right? And even though they didn't really work together, or see through the same lens because their experiences, were different and their philosophy was different. Although closer to, when they both got killed, they both were kind of coming closer to share the same perspective in regards to making things better for us as a collective. So, what we can do now that's different is to see the leaders amongst us, and we also need to become leaders, not in the sense that we're going to pull each other down, but to find ways to lift each other up. Because if we don't lift each other up, who will lift us up? And if the world is pushing us down, we will never rise. Because if we are pulling each other back, we are not going to rise because the world is not going to give us a ladder and say, walk up this ladder. We have to realize that we have to push each other up. We have to be the support for each other. And the more we support each other, the more the world will support us.
Mhm.
And that's how we're going to change.
I couldn't have said that no better. I definitely agree with that 500%. And so we just have to make sure we find that right coalition because
Correct.
all of this is really meaningful. So so as you work on Black Male Impact and as this continue to rise and to grow and be all the things that you want it to be. Are there any other parts of it that you're thinking about expanding it to reach a little bit more, to reach many more people, and to do some things with other folks as well?
Well, as the platform grows, and others will, the goal is to have other Black men to be a part of it,
Mhm.
to see the value in it, and so we can reach more. Because if you're going to do great work, it doesn't matter how great the idea is, you will have to get other people who have our share. your perspective and vision to help you, make a greater impact. But it have to be something that they want to do, because one thing you don't want to do is force something on someone. So once you find individuals who share your vision, at some point, you will have to bring others on board, and you can still bring others on board before your whatever you're doing becomes great. But sometimes you have to kind of build it out before you get other people. But there are other people that are on board that are silent, behind the Black Male Impact. But as it gets bigger, they will actually see more faces, because there are Black men out there who, behind the scene, that are, helping and supporting silently with the work that I'm doing and stuff like that. So the goal is to have a bigger team, or a big team, to do the work, because to make the impact, you're going to take a group of individuals who share the same perspective.
Wow. So, have you started any of your collaborations yet, or have you just at least started to speak with different organizations or people that you want to work with?
Yes, we have several different organizations in different states already confirmed, especially from the state of Black men. So most of these conversations will be with different organizations. So their organization will be represented. And, so it's going to be like a collaboration between the Black Male Impact and their organization, where we're going to be talking about, the impact that we can make as Black men and how we can change the narrative.
Okay. And so just in thinking about also, with those organizations, have you thought about also bringing in any like school systems, or folk that are work with local county and state governments?
Well, for the schools, the goal is to partner with schools, of course, being that that's where I'm going to meet a lot of the students, to empower students. And local organization will be the same. So right now, the goal is to partner with organizations that serve our students, especially Black male students, so I can share some of the work that I'm doing, and the books and the information that I have to share with the young people, so they can develop a different perspective, through reading and through writing, because again, a big part of our transformation, or breaking the cycle, will be through education, or knowledge.
So, for some of our audience that want to get in touch with you about Black Male Impact, can you pass out your information as to how they can contact you?
Thanks for that question. Yes, for Black Male Impact, you can find me on most of the social media platform. You can find me on Instagram at Dr. Richard A. Cross, on Facebook, Dr. Richard A. Cross, and also on LinkedIn, Dr. Richard A. Cross. And I'm on LinkedIn a lot more than I'm on other platforms. But you can find me on any one of those platforms and reach out to me. You can send me a message, and I normally respond unless I get the message, and I just normally I get back to the messages that I do get. And also for my email, if you don't mind, you can send me an email at racross13@gmail.com.
Well, Dr. Cross, I'd like to thank you for your time, and we definitely appreciate you coming to the show to tell us about Black Male Impact, because it's very, very important, and it works along with the things that that we're working with. And I will tell you, as far as community development and organizing, it's an important thing, and I really do appreciate the work that you're doing. And I just wanted to make sure that the people get the opportunity to see who you are, what you're doing, and also how you could most likely help them out as well. So I thank you for your time, and hopefully we can have you back on the show another time. But I really do thank you for your time, and please have a great evening.
Man, thanks for having me on the show. It's a pleasure. man. And you just have to yourself doing great work and giving us an opportunity to share with your audience. So, man, and congratulations on the work that you're doing, because it's not one person to do this work. It's going to take all of us to do the work, because there are people that you will reach that I will not reach. And that's how we're going to help others, to see beyond their own situation and to believe that they can make an impact. So, man, it's a pleasure being here on your show, sharing with you and your audience. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a great evening. And until next time, we will see you tomorrow on another episode of America in Black and White.